This is the Rolex Datejust 41. This specific configuration has the reference number 126300. The Datejust 41 made its debut in 2016 as a two-tone version, meaning either yellow gold and steel or rose gold and steel. This version, this all-steel version, came out a year later in 2017, and there are many variations of the Datejust 41. I just mentioned the two-tone version, and this fully steel version. There's also a version which kind of looks exactly like this, except it has a fluted bezel, which is made from white gold. And then there are many dial variations. I like this blue dial a lot. I've also had a two-tone with a chocolate brown dial, which I also think is quite beautiful. If you count the 36 and 41 millimeter versions together, I think the Datejust is probably Rolex's best-selling watch of all time, and probably currently every year. I think it's also perhaps its most iconic watch. I know that there's an argument to be made for the Submariner, but honestly I see different versions of Datejusts on more people's wrists than I do Submariners. I think it's probably the most popular luxury watch of all time. And for good reason. It's tasteful, it's beautiful, it's certainly reliable, and it can be serviced by many, many watchmakers. The Datejust 41 was one of the first Rolex watches to feature the new 3235 movement. The 3235 is still slowly replacing the 3135. What's different about it? Mainly, it's more efficient. It's not measurably more accurate than the 3135, but the 3235 has a 70-hour power reserve versus the 3135's 45-hour power reserve. How did they do it? Mostly by making the escapement wheel lighter and doing something with the barrel spring that I don't quite understand. The Datejust 41 has a diameter of just under 41 millimeters. Belying its name, it's actually about 40.6 millimeters. It's about 11 millimeters thick, has a bracelet size of 21 millimeters, and a length of 47 millimeters, which is from lug tip to lug tip. I wish there was something between the 36 Datejust and the 41 millimeter Datejust. I would love to see a 38 or 38.5, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Regardless of it being what I think is a little too big, it's very comfortable on my 7-inch wrist, especially on this Jubilee bracelet. And I'm very happy that the new version of the Jubilee, which this is on, has what's called an Easy Link extension, which I'll show you here. It basically allows you to extend the bracelet by pulling out the clasp, and it extends or contracts about 5 millimeters in either direction. You can sometimes do it with the bracelet still on, but it's easier to remove it, and I'll show you in here. Right now it's out, it's extended, and you fold it over itself and press it in, and just like that, the bracelet is shorter. Pop it back out. I use this a lot throughout the day as my wrist expands and contracts. Very useful. The previous version of the Super Jubilee did not have this, though it did have what's called a hidden clasp, which meant the Jubilee metal ran the length of it instead of having this buckle at the back. I think the Datejust 41, especially with this smooth bezel, makes a great daily watch. On the spectrum of dressy to sporty, it's certainly towards the dressy, but I think it looks great with jeans or even shorts. And maybe that's why the Datejust has been such a perennial hit for Rolex. It strikes a balance that fits many people's tastes, so much so that it's become one of the classic and most coveted watches of the last 50 years.